Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. If you've never joined the Freedom Zone, you're going to want to join today. I'm going to talk about the tokens that I'm watching. Oh, yeah, we're going down the list, and it is a list. I don't mind telling you. Click that join button underneath the title of any video, or click the description box and open it up and join us in the Patreon, however you like to do it. What I can tell you is you get every single daily video with 0 Google ads, and that in itself is worth the price of admission. And I don't mind telling you we have extra content as well, and all of this is for less than the cost of a cup of coffee per month. Get in there. You're going to want to see that list. It's a hell of a list. $2.98 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market's off 1%, but 87,600 plus for Bitcoin, 2,000 plus for Ethereum now. XRP number 4 spots 244. We're off 0.4 on the 24-hour, but we're up 5.1 on the 7-day, much like the rest of the market. Range of price between 243 and 247. Normally, XRP ranges between about a cent or a cent and a half. So we see that this is tightening up. We had a much wider spread yesterday. We will keep an eye on it as we move forward. Now, I want to remind you right now, if you haven't got your ticket to XRP Las Vegas, I would do it 64 days. The tick-tock, tick-tock. Listen, this is an investment into yourself. Yes, you will have a great time. Yes, you will make friendships that you've had online for years and in person. We're social creatures. All of that is remarkable. But let me tell you where the real investment is. It's not only in the networking and making those connections and solidifying those relationships online in person, but it's about the deals you may make while you're there. It's about the knowledge you're going to learn from all of these industry leaders that are on stage. I tell you, it has happened every single year without fail. There will be things said from that stage and in those breakout rooms that you cannot learn unless you are there. That's a fact. Not to mention we're going to have multiple White House Summit Council leaders on stage like Brad Garlinghouse and Honorable Christian Carlo. Don't miss this opportunity. This is a remarkable, remarkable moment for all of us, and you won't believe it until you get there and see it for yourself. The case is finally over. The SEC versus Ripple case has ended completely and entirely. Stuart Alderati put this post out to say this yesterday at 1:32 p.m. The final crossing of the T's and dotting of the I's, and what should be my last update on SEC versus Ripple ever. Last week, the SEC agreed to drop its appeal without conditions. Ripple has now agreed to drop its cross appeal. The SEC will keep $50 million of the $125 million fine, already an interest-bearing escrow in cash. With the balance returned to Ripple, the agency will also ask the court to lift the standard injunction that was imposed earlier at the SEC's request, all subject to commission vote, drafting of final documents, and usual court processes. That's all, folks. This is an amazing moment for all of us. And I say, in the news of crypto law reporting the same thing, that the Ripple case has ended, I say the legal dog leash that is the SEC versus Ripple case has ended. This has always been an audit and vetted process as much as a lawsuit. It can mean only one thing at my house. It's time. Lock in. I really do believe every bit of this, and I believe I'm about to show you evidence of how true that is. But before we get there, Charles Gasparino had this to say. ETH passed the decentralization test according to Hinman. Gary Gensler, no case filed, and now Trump. Now the SEC has ruled the XRP held by retail passes the same test. Left standing is that XRP sold to institutions to build out Ripple violated securities statutes because they were securities issued without proper disclosure. Ripple just paid a $50 million fine to settle the case. Sorry, those are the facts. Sorry, those are not the facts. Left up in the air is the clash at the Southern District over Torres's inconsistent ruling. This is where legislation is needed. And then he puts the link here. You know, David Schwartz even comes in and lays it down for Chaz. Listen, Chaz is not very smart in this space. And, you know, I don't want to cause a problem for Eleanor and Charles, you know, but thank God she's left, because I tell you what, he's like a gray cloud hanging over her head with his inability to track this space. And it's obvious. And he doesn't even understand basic securities laws. And obviously, that's what David Schwartz chimed in to remind him. He basically says here that if you have, this is what he says to, Schwartz says to Gasparino, that you have difficulty understanding an incredibly simple basic fact about securities laws is entirely a you problem. You know, that's bad news. You know what I mean? But you know what? This is who Chaz has been. And the reality of this is, for clarity, the Ethereum test is not real. It doesn't exist. It was a personal opinion of Bill Hinman. The SEC formally backed away from Hinman and his fake test because it was only backed and supported by $15 million that was given to Hinman. By the way, where is the SEC Inspector General report? Thanks for reminding of that, Chaz. The Ethereum test, which is not real or legally binding in any way, it only existed in the minds of three people: Chaz, Jay Clayton, and Bill Hinman. So if you're wondering where the misinformation is coming from to Chaz, there you have it. It's one of those two ding-dongs that are telling Chaz that this is a real thing. And because Chaz lacks the ability to understand basic securities laws, and he certainly doesn't understand this digital asset space, it leaves him hanging out like a smacked ass. But you know what? He's from New York, so he's too loudmouthed to actually realize that and then show humility, right? So that's not fair to say to everybody that's in New York. Chaz is just that way. I won't put that on everybody in New York. I love my New York fans and actually friends. Michael Arrington says, let's fix all of this, right? The SEC is paying Ripple back $75 million. And you know what? That is the only way to hear it. That's the only way to hear it. The SEC has to give $75 million back. Okay, that's how that goes. Now, here's where it gets super exciting. The FDIC just scrapped its reputational risk from its bank supervision framework, aligning with the OCC and marking a clear retreat from Operation Choke Point 2.0, the quiet campaign throttling crypto-friendly banks, no doubt. And that's a huge move. And so is this, because tomorrow is the hearing for Paul Atkins and the gentleman from the OCC that's going to be looked at too. It's either OCC or CFPB, one of the two. Nonetheless, he discloses he has $327 million in assets ahead of confirmation hearing scheduled on March 27th, with up to $6 million invested in crypto investments. He also, up until recently, I think he's still there, he's a member of the Digital Chamber, as well as held a board seat at Securitize until February and owns up to $500,000 in call options. He also holds equity in Anchorage Digital and a $1 to $5 million stake in Off the Chain Capital. Go Paul Atkins. My man's been busy. Yeah. I'd like to have lunch, talk about some investment ideas, Paul. The SEC Crypto Task Force has just announced they will host 4 more crypto roundtables after just having the first one ever, which included Dr. Brummer, who will be on stage interviewing Brad Garlinghouse at a fireside chat at XRP Las Vegas. Come on in. These meetings will be held on April 11th, April 25th, May 12th, and June 6th. Boy, do I love how fast these things are moving. What difference it makes when you got real leadership. Now, here from Chad Steingraber here, give him a follow. He says, if we're talking price before law, timelines then, earliest market structure is August, latest fall 25. He's got some nice dates here. He believes laws will be passed, and here's what his look is. April to May, stablecoin law, the Genius Act, SEC guidance. July to September, FIT 21 passes. SEC classify assets, exchange rules. October to December, DeFi rules, taxation updates, IRS guidance. January to March 26, token issuance, payment rules via executive order. Yeah, I think all of this is absolutely spot on. And I tell you, it brings us to this. The Treasury is being upgraded to move digital currencies. Oh, yes, stay with me. The executive order was signed not long ago. Stablecoin regulations are coming in hot. Oh, I love it. This is, in fact, what he signed. Take a listen.
I have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that where possible they're using electronic methods of payment as opposed to paper checks in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is obviously an endeavor that we've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
It's basically modernization of equipment and methods, and it's something that really I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury wanted, Scott, and so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever is next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago. Okay.
There you have it. History has been made. Question is, you have to wonder what protocol the U.S. Treasury will use to help monetize its payment system. XRP Ledger, maybe? Chainlink? Stellar? XDC? All of these things. I think there's going to be a combination and a role for all of these protocols to play a role. I really do believe that. But looking on, look what happened. Now, this is all in the same day. The Ripple case gets dropped. They sign an executive order to modernize the U.S. Treasury payment system. We have more treasurers, people from the U.S. Treasury come through Ripple camp, including Rosie Rios, the 43rd treasurer, sits on the Ripple board. And now the DTCC announces they're live with new Treasury clearing capabilities ahead of regulatory deadlines as volumes and memberships continue to grow. Treasury clearing ready to go now that the Treasury has been mandated to upgrade to modern digital infrastructure. Everything's falling into place all at once on the same day that the case is done. Well, I tell you what, I couldn't be more excited. I hope you are too. And then I want to remind you of this. You remember this? The DTC ready to go live with new Treasury clearing capabilities. Remember back in February when they all told us this about XRP DRs? Remember? Depository Corporation, right? Receipts Depository Corporation came up with XRP depository receipts. These are securities issued by RDC that represent direct ownership of the underlying XRP. What does that mean? It means that these eligible securities that offer ownership of digital alternative assets with RDC's leadership team brings extensive experience in the depository receipts and institutional market structure. Having spent a decade working with issuers and investors to evolve depository receipts based financial products at a leading global bank. In other words, these products are so they can use them and have exposure to this eligible security instrument for settlement. That's what this is for. So at the same time that the case ends, there's an executive order to modernize the Treasury. And then the DTCC announces that we're live with clearing capabilities for the Treasury's new system. And they told us in February they got all of these XRP DRs for all the clients that come through the DTCC, which settles more than $2 quadrillion a year. Just thought you should know. And here's Jasmine Cooper from Ripple X explaining to everybody at the same moment of time, what is she explaining? She's explaining that it allows, finally, institutions to bring centralized exchange activity onto the decentralized exchange in a compliant way. Ripple is about to bring their enterprise clients into a touch point of the decentralized exchange on the public ledger that we all know and love. That's what happened yesterday. Not financial advice to me or anyone else. Now we're going into the freedom zone, and we're going to talk about the coins I'm looking at and the list on the deck here. Oh, I want to share this with you. All you got to do is hit that join button right underneath any title of my video or the Patreon link and join directly there. That's all you got to do. And come on in. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. All right, welcome back. Let's